we will be covering Outlook tasks. So tasks can be used in a variety of ways, but the most prominent ways that we use them at Pan American is for compiling sort of like a to-do list. We use them a lot for email management, and then you can also use them for storing information. So this is the task screen. So if you'd like to create a new task, it's super easy. Just go ahead and create new task up here. So you'll be able to give it a subject, you'll be able to give it a due date and a start date. I wouldn't worry too much about the start date. I would say the due date is going to be most important. And then you could additionally set a reminder, and this reminder is going to be really important because it's going to alert you at your choosing to complete the task. And then we also have the body of the task. It's very similar to the email and calendar events, whereas you can insert a table, you can attach files, and you can also attach emails. So this is really important for the email management aspect of tasks. As I mentioned earlier, making sure that you have a clean inbox is really important. So tasks is going to be super instrumental in that. So if there's an email that I don't need to respond to ASAP, but instead I'm going to get back to them at a later date, what I'm going to be doing is dragging that email inside of a task. So I can now name this and I can save this task. Now I can delete this email, and that email is still going to be available in my task window. So that information is right here. I could pull up these emails and I can respond right from here, even though I already deleted that email out of my inbox. So typically with these emails, you're going to want to give with these tasks that have these emails, you're going to want to give them a due date so you know when to review and to respond back. So I can give a due date of tomorrow, and then I'm going to go ahead and set my reminder for tomorrow at 8 a.m. as well. So you could also do this by enabling a quick step in your email windows. So you can easily just create a task with the email attachment, but this is just another way of putting emails into your task. So another way we use task is for storing information. I have a task that have all my login information, which is it's very helpful for me. If you have a big project, tasks can be super helpful in storing all of the information in one area. For example, this is kind of an example of a table that you can put into your tasks. So if you're doing a project for an implementation, that's a really great example. You can have the dates, kind of what the attachment or the email will be, and then you can go ahead and drag that email or drag a Word doc into the table of the task. This is going to be super helpful for when you need to readily access information instead of having to go through your inbox or go through multiple different tasks. You're going to have that one task that stores all the information. And you could also store tasks within tasks as well. So tasks are really great for just keeping all the information in one easily accessible place. So the next thing that I'd like to show you with tasks is you can make a recurring task. So this is really similar to the recurring calendar appointments or meetings. So you can make a task to, let's say you have a task to clean out your inbox. You can go ahead, or if you have, a recurring event to check bills or to deposit laundry income, you can make a task that recurs every week, every month, daily. So it's kind of up to you. But what's really nice about this is that you won't have to create a new task each time for that recurring activity. It's always going to be there, so it's always going to alert you when it's time to complete that task. We also have the same categories that we established earlier. So in my calendar video, I made these 2 categories that I can also use for tasks as well. So if you have a lot of tasks and you want to be able to categorize them, you can do so, and then you can also arrange your tasks by categories. So it's really helpful, especially if you have a lot of different tasks. You can see them grouped by different categories. So the other cool thing with tasks is you could actually assign a task to someone, and you could also get tasks assigned to you. So if you do get an assigned task for someone, it's gonna come through as an email, and it's kind of like the calendar invite. It's gonna ask you whether or not you want to accept or decline the task. You're always going to want to accept them. So this is an example of an assigned task. It's going to come through as an email. You're going to want to accept the task. It's going to show who assigned you the task and when it's due. So accept it, and then you're going to want to edit the response before sending. Once you hit OK, it's going to allow you to enable the reminder, which again is really important because we want to be able to see when the due date is, but we also want the reminder to pop up to alert us so we don't forget that that task needs to be completed. So when you do have a task, it's really important that you're able to update it properly. But what I mean by that is you're going to want to update the body of the task as you work on it. So whenever you update your assigned task, whoever assigned that task to you is going to be able to see all of the changes that you make. So it's kind of like a living document where only you can edit it, but the other person can view it. So when you update the task, you're always going to want to put the date. So we'll put 6/11, put worked on the 1st. half. So that would be my update. As I work on it, the most recent updates are always going to be at the top. So what I like to do with my assigned tasks, I like to put a line to kind of show where the new update is. So I can go ahead and put another. So as you can see, it's kind of an example of how you are going to be updating the task. Make sure it's very clear so the person can, easily read the task and understand what's going on. So once you are ready to mark this task as complete, the most important thing you need to remember is to ask permission to mark that task complete. We always want to ask permission before we complete a task. Because once you complete it on your end, the task is automatically, it disappears from the person who assigned you the task. So if you mark it complete prematurely, then that person is not going to be able to see all the work that you've done. And then additionally, they actually may have, more work for you. It could just be part one of another step that you need to complete for the task. So the easiest way to ask permission to mark a task complete is to send a status report. So at the top of tasks, you should see send status report. So what that's going to do is that's going to create an email with the task. It's going to have all of the contents of the task in that email. So you don't need to do anything. All you need to do is type out asking permission if you can mark the task as complete, and go ahead and send that off. So it's going to be sent as an email to that person, and they will tell you whether or not you can mark that task as complete. Once you are ready to mark a task as complete, it's very simple. You can do it 2 different ways. You can do it by clicking this little box right here to mark it complete. As you can see, all of that just disappeared, or you can mark it complete up here. let's say that you marked it complete accidentally and you didn't mean to, no problem. Just go to your recently completed, uncheck this, and that task is going to go back to your task list. Right here. So another thing that you can do with tasks is you can assign them out to someone else. So you should see at the top of your task an assign task option. Go ahead and do that, and it's going to allow you to send it to someone. Go ahead and type their name in. Make sure you put a due date. That's super important. And then in the body of the task, you can go ahead and write out what you need them to do. Make sure you're really clear and detailed, so the person who received the task isn't confused. So since the person who sends the tasks, they're the ones who are determining the due date. Let's say you received a task from someone and the due date can't be completed, the task can't be completed by the due date. What you're going to need to do is go ahead and send a status report again, but instead of asking to mark the task as complete, you're instead going to ask if you can extend the task due date. And so once you get permission from the assigner, go ahead and modify that due date. And the last thing I'd like to mention is with reminders. So as we set the reminder for each of our tasks, it's really important that when they come up, we don't immediately dismiss them, because once you dismiss a task reminder, they aren't going to pop up again. That's different from calendar reminders, as they kind of pop up every 15 minutes or so before the event, but once you dismiss a task reminder, it won't come up again. So only dismiss the task reminder once you have actually completed the task. And that is it for tasks.